All right, so we're diving back into synchronicity.
Uh-huh.
And, we've already explored that connection to Carl Jung
Right.
and even looked at the science behind these intriguing coincidences.
Yeah.
But now get ready to see how synchronicity can be more than just a mind-boggling phenomenon.
I like that.
It might actually be a secret weapon for personal growth.
That's right. Today we're moving beyond theory and into the practical realm.
Okay.
Think of those aha moments, those times when a seemingly random event suddenly felt like a signpost,
Yeah.
pointing you in a new direction.
I've had a lot of those.
Those could be synchronicities at work. And learning to recognize and understand them can be incredibly powerful.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Good.
But how do we go from noticing these coincidences to actually using them for personal growth?
Well, it starts with understanding that synchronicities might be more than just chance encounters.
Okay.
They might be nudges from the universe trying to get our attention. Physicist Sky Nelson-Isaacs even suggests that these meaningful coincidences often occur when we're moving towards something we're truly aligned with.
Interesting.
It's like we're on the right path.
Okay.
And the universe is giving us a little wink to let us know we're headed in the right direction.
So it's like we're all on a quest, and these synchronicities are clues
Exactly.
to help us along the way.
Nelson-Isaacs calls it flow, aligning with circumstance so that circumstance aligns with us.
Okay.
He even has a process for tapping into this flow and increasing the likelihood of experiencing these synchronicities.
I like it.
He calls it Lorax.
Lorax.
Right.
I'm picturing the environmentalists speaking for the trees.
I can see that. But in this context, Lorax stands for listen, open, reflect, release, act, and X repeat.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
It's a framework for making decisions in a way that opens us up to these synchronicities.
Right.
And helps us make choices that shape our world more consciously.
So it's not just about going with the flow, but actively shaping it.
Exactly.
By paying attention and making conscious decisions.
Nelson-Isaacs actually shares an interesting anecdote about this in his book.
Okay.
He was attending a retreat where, to his disappointment, the hot tub was broken.
Oh, the classic retreat letdown.
Right.
I've been there.
But here's where it gets interesting.
Right.
While he was lamenting the situation, a stranger overheard him and invited him to join their group's social gathering.
What happened next?
Well,
Did he end up having a better time than he would have in the hot tub?
he absolutely did.
Really?
But the key here is that he was open to that possibility.
Okay.
He listened to this unexpected information,
Uh-huh.
reflected on it, and decided to act on the invitation instead of clinging to his disappointment about the hot tub.
So he used Lorax without even realizing it.
Precisely. And that's how it often works. By cultivating that mindset of listening, openness, and willingness to act, we can start to recognize and seize those opportunities that might otherwise pass us by.
This is starting to click for me. But I'm also curious about those times when it feels like synchronicity is guiding us towards something bigger than ourselves,
Okay.
like a purpose or calling.
That's a great point, and it speaks to a deeper level of synchronicity that's all about aligning with our true self.
I bet.
Nelson-Isaacs' friend Tom actually describes it as finding those sweet spots where personal interests align with the greatest good for all.
So it's like our personal growth is somehow connected to a larger purpose
Yeah,
that benefits not just ourselves, but also the world around us.
exactly. And sometimes those synchronicities are nudging us towards those sweet spots, helping us uncover our unique gifts
Right.
and how we can share them with the world.
Okay, this is really making me think.
Okay.
It's like a whole new way of looking at those coincidences that we often dismiss as random events.
It is, and one of the most exciting aspects of synchronicity is that it suggests we're not just passive observers in our own lives. We have the power to shape our reality and align with something greater than ourselves.
I'm already starting to see my own experiences in a new light.
That's a fantastic start.
Thanks.
Remember, paying attention to those synchronicities is like learning a new language. And the more you practice, the more fluent you become.
So how can we actually become more attuned to those synchronicities? What can we do to actively cultivate that awareness?
Well, one of the simplest yet most powerful tools is introspection.
Okay.
It's about taking time to reflect on those seemingly random events
Right.
and asking ourselves, what if this is more than just a coincidence?
So it's about looking for the meaning and the message behind those experiences.
Exactly. Nelson-Isaacs even suggests keeping a journal specifically for noting those synchronicities.
Yeah.
Jotting down those events, the emotions they evoked, and any insights that came up can help us decipher the patterns and messages.
I can see how that would be helpful. It's like we're training our minds to pay attention to make those connections.
Right, and as we do that, our intuition, our inner knowing start to become more refined.
It's like we're strengthening that muscle that helps us sense those synchronicities and understand their significance.
And here's where it gets even more fascinating.
Okay.
Nelson Isaacs delves into the physics behind this, exploring how our intentions and expectations can actually influence events.
Wow.
He uses the concept of anticipated qualitative experience.
Okay, that sounds intriguing, but a bit complex. Can you break it down for us?
Essentially, he's suggesting that our thoughts and feelings about a future experience can actually shape the path that leads to it.
Okay.
It's like our anticipation creates a sort of magnetic pull, drawing those events and circumstances into our reality.
So it's not just about passively waiting for things to happen, but actively shaping them.
Exactly.
With our mindset and intentions.
He uses a powerful analogy of a decision tree to illustrate this.
Okay.
Imagine you're applying to a school and you decide to call the department to follow up on your application.
Okay, I've been there, the anxious applicant follow-up call.
Right. From a physics perspective, that seemingly simple action actually changes the probability of getting accepted.
Hold on, how does calling someone change the odds?
Think of it this way. Before you called, the possible scenarios where you get accepted were undefined, scattered randomly throughout the decision tree. But by taking action, you give weight to those paths, making them more likely to occur.
So it's like I'm clearing a path through the forest of possibilities.
Exactly. And this is where synchronicity comes into play.
Okay.
Let's say after making that call, you unexpectedly discover that the head of the department is someone you met at a conference a few years back.
Wow, talk about a lucky break.
Right, but it's not just luck. It's a synchronistic event that became more likely because you took action and put yourself in a position to attract that connection.
So by taking that initiative, I not only demonstrated my interest, but also increased the odds of a helpful connection appearing.
Precisely. And this principle applies to any situation where we have a strong desire for a particular outcome.
So if we want to manifest something, it's about combining action with a positive mindset.
Yes.
And being open to those synchronicities that can help us along the way.
That's the core idea. We're not just passive recipients of fate, but active participants in shaping our reality.
This is also fascinating. I'm starting to see the world in a whole new light.
That's the beauty of exploring synchronicity. It invites us to question our assumptions about how the world works and to see the hidden connections and patterns that shape our lives.
I'm eager to explore this further.
Great.
What other insights can we uncover about how these synchronicities can guide us toward our own personal growth?
Well, to understand that, we need to delve into the work of researcher David Wilcock, who explores how synchronicity operates on a much larger scale.
Okay.
He believes that history itself moves in cycles.
Now I'm really hooked.
Good.
Let's dive into those historical patterns and see what they can reveal about our own potential for growth.
Sounds like a plan. So we left off talking about how synchronicities might be more than just personal events, that they might be connected to larger historical cycles.
Right. You mentioned researcher David Wilcock, who believes that history moves in these predictable patterns. I'm curious to see how that ties back to personal growth.
Well, Wilcock believes that these cycles aren't just random events. They actually reflect patterns within the collective consciousness of humanity.
Okay.
As we evolve, the themes and challenges we face also evolve both individually and as a species.
Right.
And synchronicity might be one way we tap into those collective shifts.
Okay, so it's like we're all part of this grand cosmic dance.
Exactly.
And these synchronicities are giving us clues about the steps.
Exactly. And to illustrate this, Wilcock often points to the hero's journey.
Oh, yeah.
A concept you might recognize from myths and stories.
Yeah.
He suggests that it's not just a narrative device, but a blueprint for personal transformation that we all experience in our own lives.
I remember learning about the hero's journey in literature class.
Sure.
The hero sets out on a quest, faces challenges, and ultimately triumphs. But how does that relate to synchronicity?
Well, think about those moments in your own life where you faced a challenge, felt lost or discouraged.
Been there.
And then suddenly a seemingly random event or encounter gave you the insight or support you needed to move forward.
I can think of a few times when that's happened. It's like those synchronicities were perfectly timed to help me overcome those obstacles.
Exactly. And those might be reflections of the hero's journey playing out in your own life. The challenges you face, the moments of despair and those unexpected breakthroughs, they might all be part of a larger pattern of growth that's unfolding both within you and around you.
So it's not just about achieving external goals,
Right.
but about those internal transformations that help us become more resilient, compassionate, and wise.
Precisely. Wilcock emphasizes that the hero's journey is ultimately about confronting our own shadows.
Ooh, I like that.
Those aspects of ourselves that we tend to hide or deny.
Okay.
And he believes that the nemesis in the story, the force that opposes the hero, often represents those very shadows projected outward.
So it's like we're facing a dark reflection of ourselves.
Exactly. And by overcoming the nemesis, the hero essentially integrates those shadow aspects, becoming a more whole and integrated individual.
That makes sense, but it also sounds pretty daunting. I mean, facing our own shadows can be tough.
Absolutely.
How does synchronicity help us with that?
Well, Wilcock suggests that those synchronicities can actually act as guides, helping us recognize those shadow aspects and pointing us towards the resources and support we need to overcome those challenges.
So it's like those synchronicities are saying, hey, pay attention. There's something here you need to learn.
Exactly. They might come in the form of a chance encounter with a therapist who specializes in the very issue you're struggling with.
Wow.
Or stumbling upon a book that offers the perfect insight at just the right moment.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. It's like we're being guided even when we don't realize it.
Right. And it's in those moments of confronting and integrating those shadow aspects that we often experience the most profound personal growth. It's like we're shedding old patterns and limiting beliefs that have been holding us back, allowing us to step more fully into our authentic selves.
Okay, this is really resonating with me. It's like synchronicity is not just about attracting good things into our lives,
Right.
but about facing those difficult parts of ourselves and emerging stronger and wiser.
That's a powerful insight. It's about recognizing that growth often involves discomfort and challenges.
Right.
But those challenges are ultimately opportunities for transformation.
Okay.
And those synchronicities might be the universe's way of saying, I'm here to support you through this process.
I love that it's like we have a cosmic cheerleader on the sidelines rooting for us to succeed.
Exactly. And to tap into that support, it's crucial to cultivate that sense of inner awareness, that ability to listen to our intuition.
Right.
And pay attention to those synchronicities as they arise.
So it's about trusting that inner voice and those nudges from the universe.
Exactly. And remember, understanding synchronicity is a journey, not a destination. The more we pay attention, the more we start to see those patterns and connections. And the more empowered we become to shape our lives in alignment with our true potential.
This is all so inspiring. I'm feeling a renewed sense of hope and purpose.
That's wonderful.
But I also can't help but wonder if these synchronicities might be guiding us towards something even bigger than ourselves, something that connects us all on a deeper level.
That's a fascinating question, and it takes us into the realm of collective consciousness, the idea that we're all interconnected in ways we might not even fully comprehend.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more about this collective consciousness and how it relates to synchronicity.
Well, to understand that, we need to dive into some of the fascinating research that suggests our thoughts and intentions might have a far greater impact than we ever imagined influencing not just our own reality, but the reality of those around us.
This is getting really mind-blowing. Let's explore those connections and see what they reveal about the power of synchronicity to shape not just our individual lives, but the world we share. So we've been on quite a journey exploring how synchronicity can be a powerful tool for personal growth.
Right.
We've talked about flow, the hero's journey, and even how those synchronicities might be connected to larger historical cycles.
Yeah, and now we're going to kind of shift our focus inward to the role of introspection and intuition in understanding those meaningful coincidences.
Okay, so how do we go from simply noticing those synchronicities to actually deciphering their meaning and using them for personal growth?
Well, it starts with recognizing that those seemingly random events might be trying to tell us something. They might be reflections of our own inner state, our desires, fears, or even those hidden aspects of ourselves that we haven't fully acknowledged.
So it's like those synchronicities are holding up a mirror, reflecting back to us something we need to see.
Exactly. And to understand those reflections, we need to cultivate that capacity for introspection, that ability to turn our attention inward and ask ourselves, what is this experience trying to show me? What patterns are emerging in my life?
Yeah.
What am I being called to pay attention to?
So it's not just about analyzing those external events, but also about connecting them to our own internal landscape.
Precisely. And that's where intuition comes in.
Okay.
It's that inner knowing. That gut feeling that often speaks to us in whispers, nudging us towards a deeper understanding of those synchronicities.
I've definitely had those moments where something just felt right, even if I couldn't logically explain it. But how do we learn to trust that intuition?
Right.
Especially when it might go against our rational mind.
That's a great question. It's about practicing that discernment. That ability to listen to both our head and our heart and to find that balance between logic and intuition.
Yeah.
And remember, intuition is like a muscle.
Okay.
The more we use it,
right,
the stronger it becomes.
So it's about paying attention to those gut feelings and seeing where they lead us.
Exactly. And sometimes those intuitive insights might come in unexpected ways.
Okay.
They might emerge through dreams, creative pursuits, or even those quiet moments of reflection when we allow our minds to wander.
So it's about creating space for those insights to emerge.
Yes.
Whether through journaling meditation or simply taking time to be present with our own thoughts and feelings.
Precisely. It's about cultivating that inner stillness, that quiet space within ourselves where we can hear those whispers of intuition more clearly.
This is all starting to make sense. It's like we're learning to read the language of synchronicity, both through those external events and through our own internal awareness.
And as we become more fluent in that language, we start to see the interconnectedness of everything.
Right.
The ways in which our individual journeys are woven into the larger tapestry of life.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like I have a whole new toolbox for understanding and working with those meaningful coincidences that show up in my life.
That's fantastic to hear. Remember, the key is to approach synchronicity with a sense of curiosity and openness.
Yeah.
To trust your intuition.
Right.
And to see those synchronicities as invitations to explore those hidden patterns and connections that shape your life.
I'm excited to continue this journey of discovery. Thanks for guiding us through this deep dive into the world of synchronicity and personal growth.
It's been my pleasure. Remember, the adventure's just beginning.
Follow Synchronicity Keys with Cecilia. For me, synchronicity isn't just a concept. It's the rhythm I walk, the breath I live. Now, let's delve into its hidden mechanics together, uncover the unseen forces at play, and align with the flow to co-create a reality shaped by synchronicity.